Lots of us walk around carrying a quiet, heavy anxiety, the feeling we missed our window, that because of a career detour, a late start, or a failed relationship, we are permanently, irreversibly behind. Psychologists have a specific name for this. They call it social clock theory. It's the internalized, culturally agreed-upon timetable that dictates exactly when we are supposed to hit major life milestones. For most of the 20th century, that clock powered a rigid three-stage model of life. You were given roughly 70 years, chopped into three distinct blocks. You get an education, you work, and you retire. This model is deeply unforgiving. If you don't hit these markers right on schedule, graduating by 22, peaking in your career by 45, retiring at 65, you face social pressure and an internalized sense of being off time. But biology is breaking that math. Life expectancies in many parts of the world are expanding toward 100 years. It turns out, stretching a rigid three-stage plan across a full century is practically and psychologically impossible to sustain. Consider what happens when you lay that old timeline over a 100-year span. If you feel behind at 40, you actually have 60 years left. That is an enormous expanse of time that the old clock simply doesn't account for. That nagging sense of failure stems from judging yourself against a map that no longer matches the territory. You weren't late. The timeline itself is obsolete. Navigating a century-long life requires us to discard the assumption that getting older is a steady biological slide into decline. Yale psychologist Dr. Becca Levy studies stereotype embodiment. Her research shows that when we internalize negative beliefs about aging, viewing it as a period of helplessness or uselessness, we physically damage our bodies. Those negative beliefs accelerate cognitive decline and increase cardiovascular risk. This chart shows the survival advantage of different health factors. Maintaining low cholesterol and low blood pressure offers solid, measurable benefits, but adopting positive age beliefs, framing aging as a time of continuous growth, adds an average of 7.5 years to your life expectancy. Our brains reflect this potential for growth. While the rapid processing speed of our youth, known as fluid intelligence, slows down over time, our intellect doesn't fade away. It transitions. We develop crystallized intelligence. This is the capacity for deep pattern recognition, superior vocabulary, and heightened empathy. It's the practical, uncodified knowledge gathered over decades, which society usually calls wisdom. Changing our psychological understanding of aging directly enables our biological capacity for reinvention at any stage of life. Researchers at the London Business School have mapped out a replacement for the old timeline. They call it the multi-stage life, a model built on repeating, flexible cycles of exploration, work, and transitions. In a multi-stage life, financial wealth is not enough. Survival depends on building intangible assets like adaptability and lifelong learning. Dr. Rachel Wu's research demonstrates how to build those assets. She found that older adults can stave off cognitive decline by adopting high-density learning habits. By learning 3 to 5 completely novel skills simultaneously, exactly the way children do, adults can rapidly build and retain cognitive abilities. Knowing you need to learn new skills doesn't solve the anxiety of figuring out what to do next. That's where organizational behavior expert Herminia Ibarra's concept of working identity comes in. Ibarra argues that we rarely discover our next path through deep introspection. Instead, identity shifts happen through small, testable daily experiments. You figure out who you want to become by taking baby steps and evaluating the real-world results. Feeling lost or finding yourself between careers constitutes a liminal space, a phase dedicated to building transformational assets, the self-knowledge and openness to new experience required to evolve. Viewed through the lens of a 100-year life, past detours and missteps serve as the practical investment for the intangible assets required for the next stage of the journey. Alongside learning, deep friendships across different ages maintain our vitality assets, creating a positive emotional spillover that supports long-term physical health and resilience. Now it is finally time to forgive yourself for not meeting the arbitrary, rigid deadlines of the old social clock. Challenge yourself to act your way into a new identity. Take up a new skill, explore a new interest, and do it purely for the joy and vulnerability of being a beginner again. The linear life is a myth. When you stop looking at age as a ticking countdown, it becomes an open canvas. You are never off time. You are exactly where you need to be to begin again.